Thank you for helping us to remember what a great man he was. I think sometimes when people are alive, we take so much for granted. And when he passed, the outpouring of support was unbelievable. The things that people said, the little bits of pieces of things that he said to somebody that meant so much to them that we would have never known. Thank you. It has helped us so much through our grieving process to just hear some of these stories about him that maybe we wouldn't have known. It's been tremendous for us, you know, the stories, the songs, the memories, and the most important one was three jokes. I want to hear some of those tonight. My dad had two requests for when he passed: to be cremated and to have his ashes spread on the family farm. And we made sure to honor those wishes. As through the McLaughlin's farm, we made it a production. The week he passed, we had a group of our friends from the Kalispell tribe honored him with prayer and song in their native Salish language, and sent his spirit off with a traditional drum song. We had a gorgeous moment of silence at the gravesite where Grandpa Keith and Grandma Bernie are buried. At the exact minute Dad was being cremated, our sister-in-law Angie shared her gift for prayer and song. A few days later, we had a Christian burial for him at the family cemetery where we all signed Don's beloved Mariners jersey. And if you don't know what that looks like, my cousin Dean has the exact same one on And we buried it with some of his ashes up at the cemetery so we could visit him up there. And then we all processed up to the farm to spread his ashes in 6 different locations as our friend Joe, played really nice, followed us playing the bagpipes. And we took turns reading some of the beautiful stories sent to us upon hearing of Dad's passing. We also spread some of his ashes on Eagle Mountain where he and his son Corey hunted for many years. And a few weeks later, while attending the Eastern Montana Grizz football game, no, that is not lost on us, but no, that's an Eastern the university honored him with a moment of silence. It was beautiful. So we got to be there to see that. Jacobs High School, you see the shirts here tonight. Several people are wearing them. They were in production when Dad passed, and they dedicated the show to him. One More Angel in Heaven, for those of you guys that know the play, it was beautiful. And Eastern Washington University dedicated their production of Our Town to Don as well, so from the production standpoint, he was well covered. Which brings us to tonight. Tonight we join together with family and friends, some old friends, some new, to share, I'm not going to say that, to share our love for our dear Don, our father, husband, grandpa, brother, uncle, teacher, sensei, math, friend. Tonight's events are all by design. We ask that you wear clothing reminiscent of Dad's passions, and it's been so fun to see everybody walking in. My Uncle Ray keeps giving me the freaks every time I look at him. He looks exactly like Dad. He's wearing his costume. The snacks that are in the back, and feel free if you can weed through. There are snacks in the back. Lay's potato chips, Coca-Cola. If any of you played baseball with Don, you knew that he had a duffel bag full of sunflower seeds and bubble gum at any given time. And even the coffee, served black, was Dad's favorite, and there's a million coffee stories, I'll tell you. Many of you here tonight were instrumental in contributing either through stories and memories, knowledge, or through sheer grunt work getting this up. This process has given my family the amazing gift of getting to know some of the people who were key individuals in my dad's life, some of whom we only knew through stories before his passing. Many of you know Dad through his work in the theater, a great passion in his life. But he also had a tremendous excitement for history, and later in his life, Native American history in particular. This backdrop tonight, several people asked if it was made for tonight. This was something that he got to do some work with the Salish students doing theater, and this was the backdrop they used for some of those productions. J.R. Bluff is here tonight to perform and to tell us about Dad's work with the tribe, and he's here to answer any questions work with the Stevens County Historical Society on the Caldwell Road project. And Sue Richards, are you here? I'm here. Yay! She's going to be here afterwards to answer any questions with that. That is a pretty neat thing that he got to be a part of, and there's a lot of rich information on that. Is Kevin Lyons here tonight? Okay. They did an archaeological dig on the path yesterday, and there will be some in the slideshow, some really neat things about that. And I'm sure there are some people here that can answer some of the questions on that. And last of all, it is not lost on any of the amazing folks who volunteered countless hours getting this space, the Twi'lek Center for the Arts, up and going over the last 9 years. And it's not lost on us that the first event here is Dawn's memorial. Working in this space yesterday with my brother Corey and many of the PACA volunteers was amazing. This center has a great positive energy, and we couldn't be happier than have the event here tonight. And I think it's actually a nice christening of the space. All these people here celebrating somebody they love. I think it's wonderful. Don passed away just as Tom Bristol, the architect, was about to pass the baton over to Don to do what he does best, which is heartbreaking in a lot of ways. But I also think that this is now the opportunity for us to take that baton and do all the things that we can do to make sure that we see it through, and I know it will happen. On a housekeeping note, there is a bathroom in the space. It is that door right there. It does have a lock on it. And there are 2 porta potties outside if you get really, really in a bind. So, maybe a little chilly, but that's okay. Thank you for that. And we hope that you guys will stick around afterwards and share stories, and we'll bring some more food out and just enjoy each other's company. Sit back and enjoy the slideshow we have so lovingly put together to remember our dear Dawn McLaughlin's. Thank you.
Can't hear you.
Ha ha ha!
ugly buddy and I here. Oh, we figured it out. What? The car, it's the same one you bought Mom 9 years ago. Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
No, it's not. Your cousin Marlene's got that car.
I don't get it. We all get together, we bring this car down, it's not the same car.
We all got together.
Yeah, we all get together, bring it together. Yeah.
Look at me. We all got together.
Yeah, I'm looking at you, Bob.
You know those guys? Yeah, I do. How well do you know? Very well. Good. You all got together. I'm a car and a car. Understand?
I think so.
Good. Sit good.
Watch out, there's camera bags right there.
The cattle proud, coyotes are howling way out where the dogs fall. Whisper
Hey everybody, my name is Matt Flanders. I am in New York City and I'm so sorry I can't be there, but I wanted to share a little story that I wrote down about Dawn. It's hard to believe, but once upon a time, I was a smart-ass teenager. I call at Grand Street. I can't even remember what show it was. But I certainly remember what came next, and I'm sure some of you do too. Don McLaughlin always said that if you're not 10 minutes early, you're late. And here I was, late, like actually really late. I made some lame excuse about not having a ride, and then I asked Don, well, what did you want me to do? Walk? I could actually see his face change color. The fog machine was spontaneously going off, or there was actual smoke coming out of his ears. And he snapped back, yes, I wanted you to walk. I wanted you to crawl if you had to. His response tells you a lot about what he expected from me, from all of us at Grand Street. I learned so much from Don McLaughlin, not only about working in the arts, but about being a man, being responsible. He pushed me because I needed him to. I wasn't disciplined, I didn't follow through with things, I was lazy because some things came easy to me, and Don would not let that slide. There were many times I cried and raged because I didn't get the part I wanted or the opportunity I felt I deserved. But I kept coming back and working harder. Honestly, I think I did it to show Don that I belonged there and that the life of a storyteller was as much in my heart as it was in his. It's been over 30 years since that day. And you know what? I'm still living the life of a storyteller. And I credit much of that to Don and to his unbelievable wife, Janet McLaughlin. I can't thank them enough for providing a safe place for me and so many other kids to find ourselves and our passions. And of course, for pushing us to be our best. When I learned that Don had taken his final vow, it just wrecked me. And it took me a long time to sort of gather myself and figure out what to do next. I just wiped the tears from my eyes, and then I imagined myself giving him a big standing ovation. And then I got back to work. Because I think that that's exactly what you want me to do.
From the floorboards to the fly, here I was fated to reside. And as I take my final bow, was there ever any doubt? And as the spotlights fade away, and you're escorting through the foyer, you will resume your Callaway. But I was meant for the stay. The heavens at my birth intended me for stardom. Rays of light shone down on me, and all my sins were pardoned. I was meant for applause. I was meant for derision. Nothing short of fate itself has affected my decision. From the floorboards to the fly, here I was fated to reside. And as I take my final bow, was there ever any doubt? And as the spotlights fade away, and you're escorted through the foyer, you will resume your Callaways. But I was meant for the stay.
From the years 1849 to 1860, 914,000 Irish boarded ships bound for New York City, America. So what they have done, the state of American calls the economic movement to an already observed people.
first day in Helena, I came into Grand Street Theater and he was sweeping the stage. And I sat there and talked to him for about an hour. I don't think it took him an hour to sweep the stage, but I think he kept sweeping because he recognized this fish out of water, hermit, zero social skills, recovering theater major. He said there's an audition tomorrow night for Cyrano de Bergerac. You should come. If you don't get cast, you can be on the crew. You will make friends, and some of these people will be your friends for life. And he was absolutely right. Fast forward about 10 years, I was struggling with some stuff, and I'm weeping in the middle of the grocery store one night. I hear this voice from across the produce section, "Joan Rogers, God sent you." Don McLaughlin is running over, sweeps me into a big hug, and he had just come from rehearsal. He was directing Angry Housewives. They were about a week from opening, and that night, somebody had quit the cast. And he said, "You've got to come and do this show. And I promise, whatever's wrong, the show will make it better." And once again, he was absolutely right. Fast forward another 15 years, and I'm far away, but I still feel very connected to Grand Street now. We are this vast diaspora that literally spans the globe. And I think we are a monument to loving kindness and joyful spirit of this extraordinary people. Chim chimney, chim chimney, chim chim chimney. When you're with the sweet, you're in glad company. Chim chimney, chim chimney, chim chim chim. In all of the world, there's no happier crew. Now that the ladder of life has been strung, you might think the sweet songs of utmost run. He spends his days with the ashes and smoke. In all of the world, there's no happier love. Chim chimney, chim chimney, chim chim chimney. Sweep is as lucky can be. Chim chimney, chim chimney, chim chim chim. Milk robot when he shakes hands with you. Blow him a kiss. That's talking too.
So my first audition for Don was for Peter Pan in 1985, And I sang the Rainbow Connection from the Muppet Show, but I am not going to sing that right now. So. But I am going to share just some reflections about Dawn, who had such a huge influence on my life when I was young. I am never late for anything. I'm always on time, even when I try to be late, no matter how uncool that makes me. And that is Dawn's fault and Janet's, because they taught me to show up on time always and be prepared. So I metaphorically always bring my pencil and my script wherever I go. I try to anyways. And it served me really well in my professional career. I have a long list in my head of because of Dawn's. Because of Dawn, I learned how to be a really good stage manager when I was in high school. And before I even got to college, I knew what I was doing. Because of Dawn, I got to learn how to sword fight, and I got to sword fight on stage in the Three Musketeers, even though I was a girl, and it was amazing. Because of Dawn, I got to stay in theater school when my family was struggling with paying the tuition, because he put me in charge of the bulletin board and the bulletin board test. And I got to be the geeky girl who poured through the New York Times Arts and Leisure section every Sunday morning to find questions for the test, and that was like heaven to me. Because of Dawn, I also was encouraged to become a director, and I think he knew that that's what I wanted to do with my theater career before I knew, and he did nothing but encourage me and look for opportunities for me to do that. It was later in my career when I learned that the playing field for female directors is not always level, but Dawn didn't let me in on that secret, and that was part of his magic, is when he knew you wanted to do something and you were willing to put in the work, he found opportunities for you to get to do that thing. And I had a huge amount of confidence in my abilities going into college. And that was because at theater school, nobody ever told me that I couldn't do something. One of Don's sayings that always stuck with me, that he said to us in class sometimes, was, if there's one thing in your life you can find that will make you happier than theater, do that thing instead. And when I was younger, I didn't really understand that, because I thought, why would I want to do anything else besides theater in my life? But as I got older, I came to understand what he meant. He meant that to do your best work, you have to put your whole heart into something. You can't do it anything a little. You have to do it 100%. And Dawn really embodied that. It's not about talent. It's about showing up and being present. And that idea works whether you're directing a play, or you're in a classroom, or you're trying to impact arts education policy, or you're raising a child. Show up and be present, or do something else. It's hard to believe that a man with as large a presence as Dawn is no longer walking with us, but I think his spirit infected all of us who knew him, and I count myself as so lucky to be one of the young people who got to learn from him. I am forever grateful, and to Janet and Jessica and Lee and Corey, I send you all my love, and to the whole Grand Street family, thank you.
All right, all right, yeah. All right, don't need no 5-star reservations. I got spaghetti and a cheap bottle of wine. Don't need no concert in the city. I got a stereo and the best of Patsy Cline. Ain't got no caviar, no Marriott. But as far as I can see, I got everything I want. 'Cause I got a roof over my head, the woman I love laying in my bed. And it's alright, alright. I got shoes under my feet forever, and the night staring back at me. And it's alright, times I thought my way out of North Carolina, staring up the road and pray to God I see headlights. I made it down the coast in 17 hours, picking me a bouquet of dogwood flowers, and I'm hoping for Raleigh I can see my baby tonight. So rock me, mama, like a wagon wheel. Rock me, mama, any way you feel. Hey, mama, rock me.
He does. Try considering your physical strength.
He does. Try considering your physical strength.
He does. Practice earnestly with creativity.
He does. Practice earnestly with creativity.
He does. Become a sweat.
He does. Become a sweat.
He does. Take care of your health.
He does. Take care of your health.
He does. Never play life.
He does. Never play life.
He does. Do not be too proud or modest.
He does. Do not be too proud or modest.
He does. Continue your training with patience.
He does. Continue your training with patience.
And next on the mic is my man Hank. Come on, Hank, sing that song. Check it out. When I'm pimp the dip, the ladies pimp, the women fight for my delight. But I'm the grand master with the 3 MCs that shock the house for the young ladies. And when you come inside and to the front, you do the freak back and do the bump. And when the sucker MCs try to prove a point with just a trio, or with a serious going from sun to sun and from day to day, I sit down and write a brand new rhyme. Because I say that miracles never cease. I've created a devastating masterpiece. I'm gonna rock the mic till you can't resist. Everybody, I say it goes like this. When I was coming home late one dark afternoon, the reporter stopped me for an interview. She said she's heard stories and she's heard fables that are visions of the mind. And the turntable is young reporter. I did adore, so I rocked the little time like I never did before. She said, damn, fly guy, I'm in love with you. The casting over legend must have been true. I said, by the way, baby, what's your name? I said, I go by the name.
Hi, I'm Rebecca Cook. I was one of Mac's students out of Eastern. Actually graduated with one Mac, so go Eagles. I feel like I have a million stories I could tell about Mac because, let's face it, the guy was quite a character. On Facebook, when I first heard about his passing, I posted a story about the very first day at Eastern. My first class was with Mac and his stagecraft class. He was going over all the things we shouldn't do in the scene shop. And at one point, he took this Makita drill battery and he stuck it on his tongue. And that's something we shouldn't do. And I don't know who was more shocked. He certainly got shocked and straight us in class for, I think, a little shocked in the choice of educational institutions at that point. But the story I want to tell today was from Three Musketeers. This was a big, huge production, my first year at Eastern, and Mac wrote the adaptation of the script, and he wanted it to be this big multimedia show. It was a huge cast, huge sets, there was video elements, lots of costumes, props. First time we had a big fight corps. It was just unbelievable. An important element of that was the Cardinals Guards. So that was really mostly 4 women from our fight corps who were constantly going on stage, getting killed, running off stage, changing up their facial hair, and then going back on stage and getting killed again. And it was but the project was huge, and we were all working our butts off and exhausted and challenged. And so, you know, the big side relief when you're both a technician and an actor is when the show goes up, nothing changes after that. And it's a great feeling. And I think we were all proud of making that show come together. And certainly how much we learned, especially with Mac challenging us. But I'll never forget second night. You know, it opened, everything, you know, we all survived the first night. Mac walks into the green room before the show, and we're getting prepared, and you know, things are calm, and he's like, okay guys, I was listening to the radio today, and I finally found the perfect song for the Cardinals Guards. And I know there was just this palpable sigh as we all went, no, we thought we were done making changes. And then he launches into this. I get knocked down, but I get up again. Ain't never gonna keep me down. I get knocked down, but I get up again. And we're still laughing because, I mean, not only was it the perfect song for the Cardinals Guards who kept, you know, getting knocked down and coming back up again, but Mac had managed to take this pop song by Chumbawamba and somehow turn it into a country song. And to this day, I wish I made that song. I think of Mac and I think about sorry, it's a little bittersweet right now. But he was one of a kind, an inspiration, and not always easy, that's for sure, but challenged me in so many of us in ways I don't think we were expecting to be challenged. So much love to his family, Janet, Jessica, Corey, Lee. My heart is with you, of course. As we get knocked down, but we gotta get back up again. Thank you.
Hey, this is Mary Stover, and I just wanted to share a little story about Mac. My senior year after Matt Hales had left, Mac never stopped talking about Matt going from carpenter to stage actor with the success of Cyrano de Bergerac. I know all of us really loved Matt. We got really, really tired of hearing his name. I was listening and on Final Dress, there was an accident with the pie wagon, and I was squished between the 2,000-pound moving pie wagon and the back of the stage. So I pulled every muscle in my chest and broke 3 ribs, and we had to go to show anyway. Matt kept saying, I know that you can do this because you're in fight class, right? Everything's okay with fight class. And Jason Thayer got hurt, and he's like, we're okay because we did this in fight class. We're all thinking, I don't remember getting hit by a 2,000-pound moving pie wagon in fight class, nor did a wall fall on Jason's face in fight class. Matt kept pushing us through. And then after I graduated, a couple of my friends told me, hey, you know what, we're all really sick and damn tired of hearing your name because Mac just constantly says, well, Mary Stover survived after being hit with a 2,000-pound moving pie wagon. So these days that made me really, really happy that he was still talking about me after I left, even if it was because I survived a major crash that I fully prepared for in fight class.
I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue, clouds of white, the bright blessed day, the dark sacred night. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying how do you do? They really say, I love you. I hear babies cry. I watch them grow. They like much more and I never knew. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Yes, I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Mississippi River, she's a golden bride. The interest is up and the stock market's down, and you're only getting mugged if you go downtown. I live back in the woods, you see, a woman and the kids and the dogs and me. I got a shotgun, a rifle, and a four-wheel drive, and a country boy can survive. Country folks can survive. I can plow a field all day long. I can catch catfish from dusk till dawn. Make our own whiskey and our own smoke too. Ain't too many things these old boys can't do. We grow good old tomatoes and homemade wine, and the country boy can survive. Country folks can survive. Because you can't starve us out and you can't make us run. Those when some old boys raised on shotgun. We say grace, we say man, if you ain't into that, we don't give a damn. We came from the West Virginia coal mines and the Rocky Mountains and the western skies. And we can skin a buck, we can run a trot line, and a country boy can survive. Country folks can survive. I had a good friend in New York City. He never called me by my name, just Hillbilly. My grandpa taught me how to live off the land, and his taught him to be a businessman. He used to send me pictures of the Broadway nights, and I'd send him some homemade wine. But he was killed by a man with a switchblade knife. For $43, my friend lost his life. I'd love to spit some beach nut in that dude's eyes. Shoot him with my old 45, cause a country boy can survive. Country folks can survive. Cause you can't stop us out and you can't make us run. But when them old boys raised on shotgun, we say grace, we say man, ain't in the bed.
I didn't see anything else.
Oh, he's right next to it. He's right next to it.
Hey, maybe behind you, Dad. Behind you. Okay.
Right there. Three more.
Hey, Bree, don't shoot till they get close enough to you. There you go. There you go.
In the 1860s, under the direction of acting Indian agent Major John Sims, the government constructed a log cabin in Chewelah to serve as the Colville Indian Agency. Sims and his wife lived in the cabin until 1882, and shortly thereafter, the agency was moved to Fort Spokane. In 1902, Dr. S.P. McPherson purchased the cabin as his personal residence, and family descendants continued to own and occupy the property until 2010. The cabin is the last vestige of what had been a group of structures on site to support the activities of the agency.
This cabin was built in 1868, and between 1873 and 1882, it served as the Indian agency for this entire region. That's 26,000 square miles and nearly 4,000 Native Americans. In this part of the West, I don't know of any other agency. There's one in Wyoming and I think one in Montana. The buildings are still standing.
The Stevens County Historical Society recently took over ownership and stewardship responsibilities of the cabin with the goal of opening it as a museum to interpret the Indian Agency period. But as repairs began, additional needs emerged, including the need to replace deteriorated logs and to stabilize the structure.
The family that owned it were descendants of Dr. McPherson, who purchased it in 1906. It's been in their family for over 100 years. And they felt like it was a little more than they could maintain. They wanted it in the hands of someone who would care for it and keep it as a tribute to its past.
We have to save the building's life, and rot is what will take it away from us. If it rots out from underneath us, we're done. There were a number of architectural problems. The porch was too long. The drip line dripped right onto the porch. They had put concrete around the bottom to seal out the skunks. They had placed dirt underneath the floorboards to keep the rodents out of it. But at the same time, it held in the moisture got into the wood, the sill log rot.
So our goals changed from trying to have a place for events and displays and a museum to keeping it from falling down. It will not stand and will not survive unless the sill logs are replaced and some other kind of foundation and some supports are put in it.
In addition, there are significant archaeological considerations for the site, and the Historical Society is proactively working with local tribes to conduct investigative digs.
We have asked the Spokane tribe and the Kalispel tribe to help us with some archaeological digs. They've got archaeologists on staff. They're going to have the floors up anyway, and they thought it would be a good project too.
Because of its activity, because it was a government agency, because there were people coming here from all over and camping here back in the day, this whole site is a potential archaeological treasure. So I'm very excited to have both the Kalispels and the Spokane tribal archaeologists working on the project with us.
In the meantime, anxiety remains over the extent of rehabilitation work required to stabilize the cabin and raising the funds needed to implement the work.
This site really is one of the few buildings still standing from territorial days. We want to interpret the family who donated it. We want to look at the government involvement with the Indian Agency services, and we want to look at the Indians that were here. We'd like to have a library here. There is no central location for Indian studies or Indian history of any kind. It's just a really important part of it, the history of the Northwest.
With the museum, with the returning it back to the community and to the region and to the nation for that matter, to tell the story of the reservation settlement time period. This could be a place that we can educate. It is a place that we can bring people together. We've had some wonderful moments already.
I'm grateful for Matt. My name is J.R. Bluff. I work for the Kalispel tribe. I've had the fortunate time the last 8 years, I think it's been, to have Mac enter into our life. Just over the hill. I think when I first met Mac, we had some grant, and we had to do, or somebody had to do it, and they threw us into it, and Mac was into it also. Mac was at Eastern, and he's basically helped us finish a project, and then we kind of stole him into kind of the stuff we've been up to. I work for the Kalispel tribe in our language program, and we've always wanted to do some theatrical art with our stories. We have a whole project, a program that basically brings a person from zero Salish to fluent in a couple of years. And within that, we have about 45 stories that we have interpreted in the language. Anyway, our first project, we did Skunk and the Chipmunk Sisters, one of our wintertime stories. And I remember seeing all this stuff when he worked with us. He kind of came into our lives to teach us some theatrical. And we were like, yeah, what's theatrical? We're all and seeing all the videos, he was a very humble man. If I had known half the stuff he did, I would have really asked him questions. I mean, he was just giving us tiny stuff. I remember our first days, he'd come over and work with our kids, and we're acting like Coyote, and he just said, stop. What? And we had to get into Coyote. I mean, who is Coyote? What does he do? How does he walk? Is he mischievous? And then all the kids were, yeah, well, how does that work? And all of a sudden, Mac, which is the first time I've seen him, he just got to work. He just kind of went somewhere else. Whoa, what just happened? And just that able, so kind of what he brought to us is just turn it on. Knowing it's game time. And it's not really that he he was pushing it on us. He was just kind of just showing us what was in his heart. And he showed us this much compared to what I just saw. I wish I'd have known that. I would have gotten a lot more out of that. That first day I was watching, I'm like, man, this guy is kind of crazy. You know, and I talked about fight scenes. We ended up doing about. So we first met him. We didn't have any stories. We did one. We did a real cool performance. We did it at Eastern. A whole bunch of lights. He brought in all his. He called in a few neighbors. He had, video going. We had everything. We had us on cordless mics. He bought us all the kids pizza. He was just a good guy. He worked with us in our stories program, in our language program. He wanted to learn the language. He just kept jumping, and I'm just like, hey man, I'm telling you what you need to do. You can't just want it. You kind of have to make it happen. And he did learn one word, or two words. Kekskuli. Because he's like, well, Gary, I gotta learn something. Something easy. I'm like, Kekskuli. He's okay, we're gonna get going. We're gonna start working. Oh, well, okay. And he learned that, and I remember, I forgot all about it. It was like the next year, we had them kids, I called them back into our program. And he said, okay, guys, Kekskuli. And we all looked at him. We started talking, and he said, no, that's all I know. But he was really supportive of kind of our trail, and he knew how his trail could mesh with ours. And and basically we respected him with what he brought to us, and he respected us from what we were doing, the path that we were trying to lead. Working with this project, he worked real well with our elders. He knew how to communicate with them and give them the modesty and the acknowledgement that they deserved. And that's why he worked real well with my dad, Stan Bluff, Francis Kulia, and Johnny Arlie. I'm just getting some information. So I just have a little song I'd like to sing for my friend and for all of you guys to think of him and what he meant to us. I was honored to be there in Spokane at the funeral. And that was pretty cool to get that opportunity to give some tears for my friend. So I'll sing this song for my partner here and for his family. his friends here that he touched. So, sing this little song.
Oh
Oh, you're still here? When I sing a song, I close my eyes, I open them, they're all gone. Thank you guys for inviting me here with the family to acknowledge and to share a little. Our friend here. Yeah, let me.
down, and oh, my soul so weary. When troubles come and my heart burden me, then I am still and wait here in silence until you come and sit a while with me. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be.
as long as you want. There's one thing I want to share. There's a ghost light in the corner here. Those of you Eastern students are very familiar with the ghost light. This actually has some Eastern history to it. So in professional theaters, you put out a light. It's the last thing that goes on at the end of an evening. There's superstition around it, wards off bad spirits, and it keeps the ghost happy in the space, which there's an element of that is, he's overjoyed, so that's not a problem. But it's something that you put out on a set so that people don't stumble, because the sets change all the time. You've got an orchestra pit or whatever, so it's the last thing that goes. So this evening, tonight, the last thing we will do is we'll pull out the ghost light and we'll have Janet turn it on. And it'll be a good reminder of us all. And a good, just something unique to have in the space and something obviously important too. So if anybody sticks around, that'll be our last thing we'll do at the end of the evening. So I really appreciate you all coming here. It has been so fun to see everybody's faces and to just give them a hug. And we've had 2 months to grieve. But some of that grief never goes away, but sharing stories is the best way to keep that alive, for our children and for our grandchildren to make sure that we're keeping the memory of him alive. So thank you very much for coming.